Good morning, everybody. How we all doing? Thanks for joining us on our fourth class, creating our Woodland Gnome Gremlin character, whatever we want to call it. If everyone had done the homework, last time we built the structure, we built our frame here, and we kind of created this understructure, which is kind of like it's like a body that we can build on top of, essentially. So we got a little bit of the anatomy there, but not fully realized. You know, we got the basic shape of the foot there, and so now the next step is when we start getting into the fun part, which is the designing of the first kind of, well, other than the face, the first finished part of the clothing, so which is going to be the shoes. Now I tend to work just from the bottom up once we kind of get to this point, but you technically don't have to work from the bottom up. I could start with like his shirt right now, and I just prefer kind of working from this bottom up manner. So it's not really like you have to, it's more of a preference. But now let's get you guys in here. Let's see. We'll take a look at Discord for a feedback round after we get through the lesson today, but the goal of today is to design our shoe a little bit, kind of all the way up to the knee of our character. And then for homework, you'll have to do the other shoe. So ideally next week you'll have both shoes finished up. Shoes and socks. Socks and shoes. So, and then next week we will go from there. But I'm keeping my gnome barefoot. Is that okay? Yes, we're gonna get into that. So I have decided I'm gonna add shoes to my character. If you want to go the barefoot route, it's kind of like a completely different. Yeah, I'm trying to think here how we should do that. The reason I'm picking shoes is I know it's going to be more universal for everyone to get a good result with shoes, because once you get into toes, it becomes a little bit harder. You certainly can do barefoot if you'd like. Just make sure you're using your reference. Maybe I can demonstrate a little bit. Which is easiest? Shoes is easiest. Yep. Because you're dealing with way less. It's more of a simple shape. And it's just like doing the difference between doing bare hands and gloved hands. It's just, yeah, you're dealing with the toes, the anatomy of the foot. So I think we're gonna do shoes here on this character. But if you would like to do barefoot, just make sure you use reference. Use your reference. Try the best to, you know, use what I'm teaching and apply it on your kind of own journey. But I'm going to demonstrate shoes. So, well, let's learn shoes first, and then maybe in future character lessons we can do feet, toed feet. Let's first start with our reference here. Give me 1 second here. Here we go. So I went ahead and I added some different types of shoes, kind of like the style of shoe that I'm going to be going for. I just browsed around for all kinds of different kind of things that line up with that. We're not going to use any of these specifically for, like, I'm not going to be copy pastaing these shoes on here. I'm more of just going to be, I like to kind of freely design the shoe, make it something unique. But I use these to help grab ideas, you know, of like, you know, details as far as like the wrinkles and the stitches and how they connect, or how the shoes close and how they open. And when we look at like I was looking through our basic character reference, and I'd like this. It's like this kind of idea here, where he's got these leather flappy shoes that aren't really high, and then has like socks going up, kind of like how this guy has right here. So we're gonna do the sock and the shoe essentially. But you could go this route with like the bare feet here, which it can be good too, you know, bare feet. But obviously we can't do it all in one go. This is exactly why we're gonna need multiple classes, you know, with different types of characters, right? Because there's always more things to learn. But I'm gonna stand behind my shoe decision here. So let's go back up to the shoe reference. Shoes can be one of the most fun things to design. So I always have a lot of fun with the shoes. So let's see here. Okay, so we have our character here locked in. You can see I did just like a base shape of the foot. So if I was to do bare feet, I would probably cut or remove this area that represents the toes. I would cut that part off. Then you would just sculpt the foot. Add on a layer of clay for the anatomy of the foot, and then add the toes individually and blend them on. You know, and that's, you got to be very careful to so when you re-add the toes, it's going to be very hard to sculpt because it's going to be wanting to move all over the place. So what you need to do is you need to take some clay. I'm just going to give a quick rundown for those that might want to do the toes. You take some clay and you kind of stick it under the toe area like this. So that way when you're sculpting the toes, it has something to kind of support it. So it's not just flopping all over the place, right? We don't need to, we that are doing shoes don't need to do that because we already have structure for the toes. This is already baked and locked in. So yeah. Sculpting with C9 101. Yeah, toes are a more intermediate level course, but if you have the ambition to pursue it, by all means, don't let me stop you. Okay, so our mission here is we're gonna all the way up to kind of like the knee. There's gonna be a sock, and then shoe. That's kind of what I'm going for here. And I'm just gonna do one side. The other side, you're just kind of redoing the same things that you did over here. So now you will have a problem. Okay, now this is a common problem where you will do this one side and then you go to do the other side, and this other side might end up looking better. It probably will, because you will have absorbed the information you've learned from this side and apply it already to this side. And you guys are so new at sculpting that you're going to be growing that quickly, you know. So you can decide to go back and try to remedy this side, or you can just live with it. I would say just live with it, but it's a phenomenon that will happen for a long time in your sculpting journey, where you'll do one shoe and you'll love it, and then you go to do the second one and you love it even more, and then you have this like mental conflict. But I always say, let's just keep moving forward and just save those skill ups for future work. But all right, yeah, check out the Pinterest if you don't have it already, and also join the Discord if you're not part of it already. That's where you'll be able to share your work for feedback. So today we'll need the clay. We will need the clay glue. This is isopropyl alcohol. I believe this is 91% actually, a little bit higher percentage. You don't need that, just any sort of whatever your solution for blending and smoothing is. Use that, and then whatever you use for your glue. It could be the Cosclay glue, it could be the Sculpting glue, and then worst case scenario, if you can't get either of those, you can use Vaseline. Yeah, and then we got some sculpting tools and some clay. And I think I might use the pots machine just to get things started here. Yeah. All right. So first thing I'm gonna do, you don't have to do this. This is just what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a little piece of flat clay, equally flat all the way around. That was on the thickest setting. Then we will take our clay glue and we're just gonna put it on the area we plan on sculpting today, which, like I said, will be from the knee down. Now, if you have the Cosclay glue, you don't need a lot, and you can really spread it around. Grab a brush here. The Cosclay glue spreads much easier than the Sculpey version. So if you don't have a pasta machine and you want to make a flat piece, just use your fingers to smush it flat. It doesn't have to be super, it's not super crucial that it's even for this step. Yeah, you just squish some clay like this and just make it flat with your fingers, and then you're gonna apply it that way. Okay, so let's just add our material. What is crucial is that this first layer is really stuck on there. It's going to want to get kind of like slippy and slidey initially. So you just want to push it. You want to like smush it down and make sure that there's no air bubbles. So just going to wrap it around here. Let me grab the tool. Gonna cut the excess off here. It's also worth mentioning, by the way, folks, if anyone subscribes or tips or raids or anything like that, I have alerts turned off during the lesson, and I will thank you very much, by the way, and I will give you a shout out at the end of the class. But I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, here we go. Smushing it down again, making sure there's no air bubbles. It's not about how this layer looks, it's just about it being nice and attached. That's all that matters right now. Just gonna fill this little hole right here. Piece. Alright, and now we're going to add some clay on the leg here. It's just creating like a foundation layer, because now attaching clay to this is not easy. Once you have this like firm foundation set, attaching more clay becomes much easier now. Let's fill that little spot right there. I was actually looking into shoes, what farmers or what farmers used to use for shoes back in the day before the modern rubber shoe that we have. And wooden clogs were actually used by the peasant class quite a bit, or just big piece of leather wrapped around the foot in a. But it was interesting to learn that the wooden clogs are actually used quite a bit, and some people even still use them today and enjoy wearing them. All right, so it's nice and gonna push down there. Now we need to kind of create some separation here between the level of the sock and the level of the shoe. There's all kinds of different ways we could do that. We could add another layer like this, but I think that would make this too big. So first I'm going to add just a little bit of material to be like the calf. I'm going to fill out that calf area a little bit. We want to keep his legs pretty thin, so we're not going to get too crazy with this. This is the layer where you fix any of the shapes you want to fix, where you really fill it all the way out to the shape you really want it to be. And I'm going to kind of smooth around the ankle. I'm pulling the excess material down to the shoe area, making it a little bit thinner around the ankle. There we go. Okay, now let's see here. I'm going to take the flat side of this tool, I'm going to push it down up against the sock, and I'm going to define this line right here. See that? That's what now we're making the shoe overlap the sock. See how we did that? Just kind of smoothing it out here. Flip it upside down so we can get in the inside edge there much easier. Yes, this should be baked. This understructure should be baked, yep. Now this is something I need to let you guys know is, so this is something about this clay that you have to know. We're adding our first layer onto a baked clay surface. So this has been baked, this is a fresh new layer on top. This will not stay sculptable forever like this. You have probably about 2 weeks to get this baked before it starts to really dry out and start cracking. So make sure you're getting your steps done within that 2-week time frame. Yeah, it's about 2 weeks is when you will start running into problems. So it's a fair warning. If you're having trouble kind of getting the work done in that amount of time, then you probably need to do like maybe some smaller sections or something. But you should be able to, if you just bite off small little parts at a time, you should have no problem getting it done. So I noticed cracking faster than 2 weeks, so everyone's mileage may vary. I'm sure there's environmental factors and stuff, but for me, the rule of thumb has always been 2 weeks. Also, it could have something to do with so the thickness of the clay. So the thicker the clay, it tends to take longer. If you do like a really thin layer, you're going to want to get it done pretty quick. Okay, so now we're going to start essentially designing our shoe. I like the right now you would fix any of the volumes, so you would add material where it's lacking. So let's do that step first. On my guy, it's the heel here. It needs to be filled out a little bit more. So I'm gonna add some material onto the heel. And you're gonna use your reference to kind of figure this out just by looking at it, see if the shapes are looking good. That's the thing I'm gonna have is I'm gonna have the shoe come to a point here. So I'm gonna make this kind of flattened, chunky triangle piece here. I'm just going to push it onto the nose of the shoe there. A nice pointy shoe. Blend it in. And you can decide, okay, do we want the could even make this have a little bit of a curl to it. Make it just go kind of straight or flat with the... There's going to be a separation line between where the bottom of the shoe meets the side of the shoe. You have to kind of define where that is. See how I moved it from up here down to here? Then you can kind of define where that bottom of the shoe is. Just kind of sliding your finger along the surface like this will create a flat plane. And then you do it on this side here. And then back over here. And what you're doing is you're slowly pushing this corner out. See that? So now we've defined essentially where the bottom of the shoe meets the side of the shoe. I think I want the tip of his shoe to be a little bit more longer and spindly, you know, like a little floppy bit of his toe there. So I'm just kind of pulling it out, stretching the clay and pulling it a little bit. All right, let's kind of clean up the side here. This side of the shoe should be fairly flat. The outside of the foot. It's the inside of the foot that will have the arch of the foot. See right here, we have this arch going on here. So the shape's a little bit different. Because these are like thinner leather shoes, we see a lot more of the foot kind of natural shape. big thick boots, you can have kind of like their own shape. They don't need to follow the form of the foot very much. All right, shape's starting to look good there. I'm going to define this just like we did on the outside. Just kind of define where the edge is, where the bottom of the shoe starts and where the side of the shoe starts. Just by kind of gliding your finger along those planes until they start to develop. There we are, see that? Yeah, there's all kinds of design questions we gotta ask ourselves with their shoes. Will they have laces? Or belts? Or neither? Maybe it's a slip-on shoe. All kinds of ways we can go. So you can see we're not making any design decisions on our shoe. We're just developing the shape of it, the basic shape, essentially. Before we do the upper kind of edge of the shoe, we want to make sure we texture the sock first. It's gonna be easier to do that before we do the upper part of the shoe. So. Okay, I'm gonna fill in the bottom of the heel here a little bit. I'm also gonna make the bottom of the shoe more flat. So I'm just gonna kind of pull the, when you're trying to establish a plane or flat spots, you're gonna pull, you're gonna kind of feel around for where the high spots are and the low spots. This process starts to happen naturally, but you want to pull the clay from the high spots into the low spots, like you're pulling the hills into the valleys. So I'm pulling all the excess material to where I need it to be. That's why the direction in which you blend definitely matters. See, so. And it wasn't enough to fill this little spot on the heel, so that's when you know you need to add. So sometimes it's not enough material to kind of go around. That's when you need to add a little bit. Okay, so this shape looks a little bit wonky from this angle here. We need to push that down. I see. Got this spliced a little bit when we were smoothing out the bottom. Now the heel of the shoe tends to go up to where the ankle bone usually is, which is right around there. The ankle bone usually is like where the top of the foot meets the ankle. So that's usually where the heel of the shoe would end. Okay. Let's clean up the bottom of the front of the shoe here too. I'm gonna do that same process, but I'm gonna use my tool instead of my finger because I can't get my fingers in there. pulling the material in the direction that it needs to be. Yeah. Okay, now this keeps tempting me, but I really want to put this big wrinkle right here where the shoe bend is. See that? I'm just gonna take the edge of this tool here and I'm just gonna follow the contour it's already giving me. Just like that. There will definitely be a big wrinkle there. Now when you do wrinkles, it's important to know that there's a pattern that almost all wrinkles follow. It's kind of looks like a Z, or not a Z, sorry, Y's and X's. You almost have to imagine how an accordion works to understand how wrinkles on clothing are. So once you establish kind of the wrinkle you know is going to be there right there, it becomes real clear and easy to establish the ones that will be next to it. So I'm going to come in here like this. Right there. See, we already have this kind of Y shape going on. Could even add one right here. There's that Y shape going this way. Then from the other side here. Once you really get your mind around this, this is when you're going to be able to do wrinkles without reference. And then as we get further up the foot, the wrinkles aren't as deep and narrow, but they're more shallow and bigger. So I'm going to use the fatter end of this tool here. And I'm just going to do a couple lines like this, following the shape of the object. You're always imagining how it bends, what direction does it bend. And then you're creating perpendicular wrinkles towards that direction. So then I look for, okay, now I'm gonna have this valley going into this hill. So we have this hill here. I'm gonna line up the tool right on top of that, and I'm gonna create one going this way. And then kind of where these meet up, they just kind of end up creating that natural kind of Y shape. See that? And then I can see that needs to be one right here. it just starts to, as you develop the wrinkles, it just starts to kind of show you where another one needs to be. Now these ones towards the ankle are going to get kind of smaller and sharper again. Smaller and deeper. Any area that bends quite a bit. So right here and right there at the ankle. There you go. Kind of our basic wrinkles there. Basic and bigger ones. We'll also add one right here, right at the top of the heel. There tends to be a lot of bending there, so we'll add a smaller one right there. A few shallower ones as we get further away from the heel. All right, so once we have our kind of basic wrinkles done here, we still haven't done any textures or details at this point. We're gonna clean it up with the brush for the first time. Just gonna kind of go over the whole thing, smooth and make it all kind of come together and get rid of our tool marks. So just gonna take a brush. You'll notice if a wrinkle doesn't look right, and just be aggressive with fixing. It's very easy to just push wrinkles into something. So it's just don't get attached. If you feel like it doesn't look right, trust that instinct and maybe re-blend the shape back down and try again. But ultimately, you're always thinking about how does it bend. Start with that, you know. The shoe bends this way, so the wrinkles are always perpendicular to the bending in the opposite direction of the bend. That's usually when a wrinkle doesn't make sense the most, is when if let's say I had a wrinkle going up the foot this way, that just wouldn't look right because the foot doesn't bend this way, you know. It bends this way. So, not parallel to the movement, but always perpendicular to the movement. So, you're keeping that in your mind as you're doing the wrinkles. Okay, how does this character move? How does it bend? It's amazing how many things revolve around that. Scales are the same thing. Scales, clothing, armor. It's all where the lines are. Is all based around how movement happens. Yeah, yes, and when, yes, exactly. You use a reference to guide your way. You know, maybe for you guys, you should pick a specific boot and just really use it. Analyze what the wrinkles are doing, where they're going. You have to develop your understanding of wrinkles and how they operate. I remember when I first started doing wrinkles, it was like trying to decipher a foreign language. It was the same level of confusion in my mind. So don't feel bad if that's the same case for you. Okay, so now that's looking good. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna establish the sole of the shoe, the line that separates the material that's on the bottom of the shoe with the material that's on the top of the shoe. Some shoes don't have this line, but my shoes are going to, so I'm just gonna make a line going all the way around. Starting with the toe here. Be very careful with that wobbly toe. It's amazing how a little line can make it into a shoe. From a weird shape into a shoe. Make those lines meet up. When you're sculpting floppy bits like this, it's important to do what you need to do first, and then you can always go back and shift the position of it. Do you know what I mean? Don't get caught up in worrying about it shifting around. Just get the texture that you need to get done, finished, and then go back and adjust the position of it. Now at this point, we could add a heel block to his shoe. I don't think he will have heel block. I think this will just be kind of like flat leather shoes. I think at this point, I'm gonna do the texture on the socks before we get further into the shoe. So it's gonna get harder and harder to do this sock part as we get further into it. So just want to make sure the shape's looking good, and then we're just gonna add. I'm gonna take kind of like the end of this tool, and I'm gonna add lines going straight up with this tool. Some parallel running lines like this. The decent space in between. This will be a two-part kind of texture here. Keep some nice even spacing. Don't be shy with your weight of your tool with stuff like this. We want these to be a little bit deeper here. So what's going to happen is I'm going to go in with the brush and we're going to round this off, and these lines will create like these secondary shapes here. And now we brush. I take a, let's see, use a short bristled brush here. Small one, so I have more control. And now I put the alcohol down, but I don't start brushing really heavily until it's given it some time to kind of work into the surface. So just brush it. Hey Dragon, we'll catch you later, my friend. Okay, so we're gonna brush this now that it's had some time, and we're gonna kind of really push down with the brush with the flow of those lines. Develops this nice kind of shape. If you get some gunk on your brush, just kind of roll your brush onto something like that. I use the outside of my container a lot for that part. I'm not so worried about the edge of the sock, and it's because I've already made the decision that whatever's going, that the pants are going to overlap the sock, so we're not going to see that seam line. But let's say I knew the socks were going to be over the pants, I would sculpt the edge of the sock, you know, just kind of create a nice edge here. But since I know that you're not going to see this up here, I'm not worried about that transition. All right, so we're going to continue our way around here. Clearing off my brush. There we go. Just a little heads up, guys. I've been in contact with the Arnold, the maker of Cosclay, and we want to get him on the stream for a Q&A session. We don't have anything locked in as far as dates yet, but it's something to look forward to. It's always a pleasure to have him join us and see what they got that's new. They've joined us before for live Q&As, and it's always a good time. Always a good time with Arnold and Alex. So stay tuned for those updates. Start thinking of some questions. Wish it was easier to get in the UK. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not Cosclay. They're not gonna they don't deal with international distribution themselves, so it's totally up to the people that distribute art supplies in the UK on whether or not they want to pick up the product. What's the biggest nose ever made out of Cosclay? Ask them what they recommend in the UK. What, like other clays? I don't think you ask a clay distributor or I don't think you ask someone who makes clay to recommend other brands. There might be a bias there, I think. All right. Okay, that first layer is done of texture. I'm going to do a second layer of texture using, you can either use a wire brush or a coarse bristle brush, or let's see if I got this one. Yeah, we can use something like this right here. Can you recommend your competitor for me? Yeah, right. So this is a tool for making some nice cloth texture. If you don't have this tool, it's fine. You can, you know, be experimental with the tools you do have to create texture. You wouldn't even need to do texture like this here. You could just, this could be just good enough, but I'm gonna add another layer here of coarseness. Now I'm keeping the tool very parallel to the surface of the clay. And that's so it'll glide on the surface and not rip and tear, because that creates more of those little clay boogers. So I'm gonna put it down there. Notice how parallel to the surface my tool is. And you don't want any little clay bits stuck to the end of the tool, because that will mess up the texture. Right. Now this finer texture is something you really see when it gets into the painting phase. It can be very difficult to see it right now. The thing with cloth is you're creating noise. Cloth is very it's very matte finished cloth, and that's because there's so much surface noise going on that it could never be shiny, you know. So we're just simulating that noise. There's all kinds of different ways you can do that. So when you paint it, there's just so much texture going on the surface that it naturally will look like in a matte finish. Where do you get this texturing tool? It should come in a lot of the like tool kits, the like multi-packs that you buy usually come with one of these. Just a wire brush. You can make your own by just taking a bunch of little pieces of wire, binding them together, and then cutting them all at the same length. All right. Looks good. All right, back to the shoe. Now, we have to decide, is his shoe kind of like slipped on? Does he have some sort of stitching or lacing? I kind of like the stitching and lacing going up the side of the shoe. That's what I like. You could also see some external stitches, some bigger ones, kind of making the bottom of the shoe and the top of the shoe connect. Let's see here. So let's just find out where this line's gonna be. I think probably right about there. Just gonna draw this line. If your guy has like a standard lace shoe, you would be drawing this in the front here. Alright, and we're gonna have this laced up. So what I want to do is I want to define where those laces are gonna be. So grab a tool here. We're just gonna use our ball stylus and we're just gonna make a little dot to describe where those will be. So let's do 2 at the top here. Yeah. 1 right here, 1 right here. There, there. Maybe that's it. Just 3. So the reason I need to know where that is now is because we're gonna take this tool here and I'm gonna go in between the dots. So imagine it's being tied shut. It's pulling. So these areas are gonna be close, but these gaps in the middle should be further away. So I'm gonna get in there with this tool and I'm just gonna kind of wiggle it that way and I'm gonna wiggle it this way. Create that nice little gap. I'll do that here too. Just a little wiggle. And then up near the top, that will kind of flare out too. I think we're gonna add like something on the top of this shoe here, like a trim piece or something. Okay, so we don't want to do the laces just yet. Lacing and stitching, you want to save those parts for the end. Because let's say I did that now and then textured the shoe and wanted to brush here. Now I can't really do that very easily because we got this delicate detail to kind of work around. So we're going to just kind of leave that there for now. But we've established that. Now we want to we're just kind of looking around, looking at reference, making design decisions on how we want the shoe to look. So let's take a look at the reference. See what else there is to do here. I think I want his shoes to be not too crazy and elaborate, just kind of plain Jane, you know, shoes. But one thing I want to decide is what's going on the top, which I don't really have. Don't really have a reference that gives me something I like. So we're just gonna make it up. You know what, let's take a piece of clay that's twisted to line the top almost like a braided rope at the top. So we're just going to, could you add the laces after the shoe is baked, or is that a bad idea? That detail becomes difficult to do after it's baked because it's hard to get those little pieces to stick to the, you know, to get them to really stick into place. So you technically can, I just think it's harder. You'll see why, because when we do the laces, we're going to be able to like really kind of like push them into the clay, you know. Hey, Toji, welcome. Welcome. We're doing a class today, so I'm not being as attentive to chat as I normally am, so welcome on in. So we're just going to roll a nice little even snake of clay here. Should be big enough. And I'm just going to take it like this. So kind of on the thicker side, and we'll give it a twist. Now, I'm going to kind of twist it very carefully. I'm focused on the thickness of the piece here. Tightening it up. Very easy to over twist, and then it pinches into a smaller piece, but I think that's probably looking good. Let's see. Just going to put it in place here, right at the top. There. See, that makes that nice seamless transition between the sock and the shoe. That's why we had to do that sock before you do this part, because now it's going to be very difficult to get in there. Let me get an X-Acto knife. This part. Thank you, Toji. We're gonna cut this. The sharper your knife is, the less it'll kind of smush when you cut. So it's always good to have a nice sharp blade. Nothing to be sorry about, my friend. Thanks for tuning in. Okay. I'm just kind of cleaning up this rope. Just making it look like it kind of curls into the shoe. Now, do we want to add texture to the rope is the question. Probably not. Yeah, we don't need to. Sometimes it's just you get too far into there and it's unnecessarily wasting time. Which I've done many times, so don't feel bad if you do. It doesn't need it. But it does have fingerprints on there, so we're going to want to brush it a little bit with the alcohol brush. So Something to pay attention to. Okay, good. Now I think that's about it as far as the the basic design of the shoe. Like I said, we're gonna keep it very simple. You can get really elaborate with shoes, but then you're putting you have to think, we want to put the detail and the interest probably not on the shoe. You could, but it's gonna be more on what's going on up here. So I think that's good enough. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to texture the leather. We're going to do like a nice, just basic leather texture and clean that up. And then we're going to go in and we're going to do the stitching, and that should complete the vision of our shoe here. So let's take, can use this, no, we'll probably use this one here. I like using this one. Just kind of the pointed end on this side here. I use medium firm mostly. That's what we're using here. Now I'm gonna do just long squiggly X's. Okay, this is the texture I use a lot, and I just really like how it looks with a lot of different things. But essentially, it's this. Let me just show you. This. It's this over and over and over again. And again, we're thinking about how does the shoe bend, and these lines will run perpendicular to the bend. It's the squiggly X, right? And you do them deeper and more kind of intense than you want the final look to be, and then when we brush it, it ends up coming together and looking really nice. So this can be done for coarse skin and stuff like that, but essentially we're just going to do, I'm loosely holding the tool and I'm going, alternating my direction, making those X's. And as we get down to the toe of the shoe, they're going to start to curve and go more this way. To get towards the back of the shoe. More lines is better because you can always brush it away. As we get towards the ankle of the shoe, the lines start to curve more towards that direction. Now the way you do lighter lines is you don't grip the tool. You hold it very lightly. Like very, very loosely, very lightly. The lighter you hold it, the more loose you hold it. This is not a tight process. You don't need the lines to be perfect in any way. You want a little bit of variableness, you know, so you just kind of loosely hold it. The main concern is the direction and the alternating, kind of completing that X pattern. I'm going to flip it upside down so I can come from the edge of the shoe here. And there we go. I'm just going to cover the whole shoe with this. Hey, thanks for tuning in there, just chilling. Glad to be here. Alright, I'm gonna go upside down again here and come from the edge. Now the bottom of the shoe tends to be a thicker leather. So we can do a different texture. You can do just the same too. It doesn't matter too much. But that's also an opportunity for some textural contrast, you know. Where we can change it up and make it look different. This side's looking good. Alright, so now this panel or this side is going to be, the lines are all going to be going this way because that's the way the heel kind of bends. I've been sculpting for pretty consistently for about 15 years. I've been streaming and sculpting for 12 years now. So I've been doing this for a long time. Let's see, when did I start teaching sculpting? That's the question. Probably like 2018 was my first kind of real getting into teaching. I started off teaching, I was hired by California State University to teach a master's level sculpting course. It was part of like an intensive summer arts program. That was kind of what kicked it off. And then of course, you know, helping people and teaching on stream prepared me for that. That's true, yeah. I think I did the California State teaching before I did my own online stuff. I don't think we did an official class. I can't remember until after that. I was confident that I could teach after that point. Okay, so the other side of the shoe is going to be easier to do holding it upside down here. Now you can see the benefit of having this all baked, so you really have a good handle or many places to hold on to the sculpture and be very comfortable while working on it. Just gonna keep moving on up here. Again, I'm following that same contour of how the shoe bends dictates where the direction of the lines. And these go, if you notice, they curl, they go from this direction and then they turn to this direction as we get towards the heel. And then as we get to the middle of the foot, it straightens out and then it turns towards the toe. Alright, switching up the sides there. Let's get the top of the foot and bring those two sides together. Again, it's okay if this is a little bit messy and a little bit more rough than you want the final look to be. You want it to be, you want your lines to be a little more intense than the final look. Because when we do the brushing, it's going to lower that intensity. Yeah. Now the bottom of the shoe. I'm just going to do fairly straight lines, kind of like this on the bottom. Little bit of a wiggle to the line, not perfectly straight. Now I'll hit it from the other direction too. So, because when you hit it from one direction, the lines tend to be deeper, and then they come to a shallower stop here. So we're going to go from the other direction to kind of balance that out. Now, I'm not even going to do the texture here because I know it's going to be ground level. So the ground will be right here in the finished piece. But if you're unsure, if you don't know, then you just texture it anyways, and then if you cover it up later, it's no problem. Open this up here a little bit on the bottom. Okay, so now we will brush with the alcohol. Gonna use, usually we'll use a bigger, softer brush for this. We don't need it to be really specific, so we're not gonna use a small brush. We're just gonna, you wanna brush with the flow of the lines. If you end up brushing against the flow, it will erase the detail. I'm also going to hit that rope while we're here, just to remove the fingerprints. Brush it even if you don't see fingerprints, because they're there whether you see them or not. You won't realize it until you get into the painting phase, and all the fingerprints get exposed to you at that point, the ones you left behind. So just get in the habit of always brushing things that you've touched. And you brush just until it looks how you want it to look. And if you end up over brushing, you can just go back and add more lines and then brush again. Kind of got to feel out where that stopping point is. I just kind of brush till the lines look more natural and rounded. And then some areas will jump out to you a little bit more coarse. And just kind of go over that area a bit more. Alright, let's do the bottom of the shoe. I just kind of wiped off the excess alcohol there. I didn't want a ton of alcohol here at this spot. Just enough to kind of cover this area. You can use 100%. Just note that the higher the percentage, the quicker it will react, and the quicker it will also remove itself by evaporation. So you just might have to apply it a little bit more often and less. Do what I did a little bit more, where you kind of wipe off the excess before you brush on the model, so it doesn't just turn your surface into a slurry. You know what I mean? Okay, this is looking good. So next step is to do our laces and our we're gonna lace this up, kind of decide how it's gonna look, and then we'll do, I think I want to do some stitches going from the bottom of the shoe to the side of the shoe. So, but first we need to make our material that we're going to stitch with. Now, using a firmer clay for this can definitely help. I'm gonna still use medium firm, but if you're having a hard time handling the medium firm, you can either make some firmer clay with your existing clay by sandwiching it between pieces of paper and fermenting it up. It'll leach kind of the oils from the clay, and you can, you know, use that. Or you can just buy the firmer clay and use it for stuff like laces. The firmer it is, the easier it is to handle without things kind of breaking. So, but I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit here. Just gonna roll out my desired thickness. Now the key here is to make sure that it's as consistent as you can with the thickness. You don't want any big bumps. The downside to using firmer clay is it's less sticky. So when you're trying to attach small details like this, it can become a pain in the butt. Alright, I'm going to leave it on the table, okay? And I'm just, see, this part's a little bit too thick here, so I'm going to start my cut right there. Get rid of that. And I'm going to get way more than I need, about that much right there. I'm just going to stick it to the end of the tool, see that? There's another benefit to using the softer clays. It'll stick. I'm just gonna put it all right, and put it in place here. Just gonna get it in the rough area. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just kind of move it into position. Gotta decide how we want this lacing to go. Probably have it go cross like this. I'm gonna cut off the excess, and I don't need it to look pretty. I'm just gonna try and eat this. This is the really delicate part. You're probably gonna have a hard time with this, but just embrace the challenge. Yeah. Then we'll do another X right there. And then maybe some sort of a knot or tie at the top, maybe. So now I know I made that look really easy, so just embrace the challenge. It'll be a little frustrating, but trust me, through the frustration, you're gaining that fine motor skill. Okay. Okay, so now let's grab another piece about the same length and get it to stick just like that, and put it right there. it should want to stick to the clay more than to the tool, but sometimes it wants to stick to the tool more. Okay. Right there. Grab it. Stick to the end of the thumb. Put it down right there. You know what? I'm gonna flatten this under one a little bit. Flatten it a little bit so it doesn't bulge out so much when we cross over. There we go. Okay, so now let's see. There's a certain tool I like to use just for this particular part. It's this one made by Bees Putty. You just gotta find one that works best for you. This one can work too for this. I just like using this one better. But you don't need it. You just gotta find a tool that where I'm gonna take the kind of the flat pointy end here, and I'm just going to kind of push it or guide it into the hole and just kind of clean up the edges so it actually looks like it goes in. See that? They do, yeah. These little lace details or stitches can really, you don't need a lot to really make a big impact. There we go, just like that. Just defining that edge all the way around. A little bit of clay there. We don't want a little excess. If you're having such a hard time with the laces and it's frustrating, and you could always decide to do belts instead of laces. Belts are much easier. Just have like a big belt going across that section with a nice buckle or something. There's always options. There we go. Now, one way you can get the clay to be even thinner, it becomes difficult to roll when it gets too thin, but one way we can make it even thinner is you can stretch it, where we kind of pull and twist and drop it on the table like that. See that? Zippers, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of different strategies and techniques for sure. So I'm just going to create some really small pieces for the stitching on the side of the shoes. I want these to be a little bit smaller. So I'm just stretching and pulling and just dropping them right on the table. When it gets down to this small, you don't want to be using your fingers to move it around. You just want to stick it to the tool. There we go. You ever used real cloth for clothing before? Mixed media, I've done a little bit. It's definitely something worth experimenting with. Just a completely different look and strategy to do things. I've done it a little bit. So we stick it to the end of the tool here, and I'm just gonna pick some random little areas here. kind of like that. Some straight one, we'll do some straight ones. And then maybe some ones that are like angled and crossed. Now let me teach you guys something about doing detail like this. What's gonna make this is something you gotta really pay attention to, but my arms are not holding this up. I'm not floating my arms. My elbows are on my elbow rests. I'm holding it very tight in, elbows in. Everything is supported. I'm holding this and I'm holding this, and everything's very tight. And notice how my fingers here, my pinky, my ring finger, are always touching. And so literally the only thing that's moving is this movement right here, my fingers. No, you're gonna have a very hard time if you try to like hold it out in the air like this and hold this arm and you're floating around and you get all this movement, right? So keep everything very nice and locked in and supported, and you have a much easier time doing stuff like this. No, Boohoo just found me streaming here. Decided to support. I didn't know him before I started streaming here. Yeah, I'm liking how that's looking. Let's just continue all the way around. Again, I'm just kind of positioning them into place here. Then we'll go back through and we'll kind of clean up the edge. Almost like a moccasin seam. We were just talking about that the other day. I think it was 5 years ago at this point. It's been some time, that's for sure. See, this one's fighting me. There we go. That one didn't want to come off. Well, just like I explained, my steadiness is all because of my kind of locking everything in place. My arms are fully supported. You know, nothing is kind of floating in midair. I have my armrests on my chair. Yeah, right? A lot has happened in those 5 years for me, that's for sure. As I'm sure it has for most. Alright, we need more lace material, so we can go around the other side. I'm gonna try and do longer pieces so we can kind of get through it quicker. That's right, arms within arms. Yes, you bake your piece before doing the shoe. Yep. You should have a baked understructure at this point, where I'm at. And then after we get done with this shoe, we're gonna bake it again before doing the other shoe. I'm gonna be honest and say I'm not gonna try this technique on my first piece. You don't have to. No, you don't have to. There's another way you can do this seam line real simple. That looks really good. Here, I'll show you on the heel here. But you could take a tool like this and just do like a stitched line like this. You could do this kind of a detail. And that works too. So, this is just a certain style I'm going for. You don't have to do. But there's your backup, and it would look good too. Okay, I'm gonna have this kind of crossing over here. You also catch yourself sometimes trying to hold your breath when you do stuff like this. Don't do that. Take nice. You actually, there's a technique that snipers use before they take a shot. You're doing the same thing. Take a big, deep breath in, and then you have like a slow, controlled release of your breath. Keeps things pretty steady and calm. But you're not holding your breath. Just you're slowing it down by taking those deeper breaths. What are those? Make this a little bit thinner here. How can I fix cracks in my baked sculpture? You have cracks in your bake? Are you using Cosclay? Okay, you guys get the point here. I don't need to do all the way around. It's just more of the same thing. Well, let's take this tool, and just like with this, I'll show you kind of just how we're going to clean these up. Just going to push it in. Kind of define that edge there, see? Just like that. Yeah, there we go. And I'll do that all the way around, and that's it. That's all, that's it. Then I'll bake this. I'll put it in the oven, bake it for 275 Fahrenheit, 135 Celsius for 30 minutes at least. Lock that shoe in, and then I'm gonna do everything I showed you again over here. Exact same. And you're just gonna have to try and really match up the shapes and make sure that the shapes are the same size. But if they're not, don't worry so much about it. Because of this type of character, him being misshapen or oblong or weird works. Yes, you bake it on the piece of wood, yes. I didn't, it's a local clay. Okay, I'm just wondering why you have the cracks. That's the question. Cracks either occur during baking because of, are they hairline cracks, or are they actually pretty big cracks? Like structural kind of cracks. Well, yeah, you can add more Polymerclay, but if it's a structure issue, the cracks will reappear no matter. You have to wait till the very end to fix them usually. So that way it's getting fixed on the last bake. Small cracks, okay. Okay, it's little hairline cracks. Just wait to fix them. Don't worry about fixing them. Stuff like that, you wait until the very end to fix, because the chance of them re-emerging is high. So instead of fixing them now and then continuing with the project and then having to fix them again later, you're just wasting time. So just ignore them for now. And when we get to the end of the project, if they're still there or still having a problem, then ask me, and then I'll teach you how to fix them. Yep. All right, folks, that's going to end the lesson part of class today. We're going to switch over now to the feedback part of class, where, if you guys don't know, you can submit photos and videos of your project. Doesn't matter if you're keeping up with us. It can be at any stage. Maybe just let me know what week or what stage you got to. And you have to use hashtag week 3, I believe, right? So we'll use hashtag week 3 to have gotten feedback for today's class. Now, when you guys do all your work and you want feedback next class, you want to do hashtag week 4. So hashtag week 4 to get feedback next week. But for everyone that's done hashtag week 3, you're going to get feedback right now over in the Discord. So let me pull that up really quick. And let's see. Also, let's see, before I get into this, let me just check something real quick here. Oh, there we go. Okay. I want to give a shout out to Robway for the tier 2 16-month sub. I appreciate it. There, Rob. A resub from Coyote. Prime sub, 8 months. Thank you. Anonymous gifter gifting a sub to Fat Peanut Farts. I wonder who that was. Thank you, Anonymous. Appreciate that. So Be It resubbed for the 2nd month. Thank you very much there, So Be It. Morning. I think I got everybody. Okay, cool. Don't encourage him. Alright, let me pull up Discord. And we're going to get into the fun here. There we go. We'll go to the CNAT school section. Where's that at? Right there. CNAT Bush School. This is where you're going to want to post right here. This section right here. If you want feedback, that is. Okay. I could probably just scroll down through here. Oh wait, no. Yeah, let's do search hashtag week 3. Week 3. And we'll do oldest to newest, so that way, or newest to oldest. There we go. Hey, thank you, Zandra. Appreciate that. Thank you for the raid. We're doing our class today, so I'm about to do the feedback round. All right, let's see here. Pogus Champus. Well, decided to restart my project a few days ago, so running a bit behind, but I think it was worth it. I feel better about this head than I did the previous 2. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh, hey, wow. Wow, that's looking great. Really, really good. Isn't it amazing how when you do things over again, how much you see the improvement? It happens. It's just a natural thing. So, this looks excellent. Very, very good. I like it a lot. The eyes, the wrinkles around the eyes, all of it's the nose, it's all reading really good. All right. I like the proportions too. Those are definitely going to work. Oh, we get a side-by-side of all the heads. Yeah, wow. What a difference, huh? You can really see how much you starting to understand the wrinkles on the eyes. I bet you used reference for that, right? The reference has taught you well. Oh, here's a slacker CNAP Bush with his update there for you guys. Or coming in at the end there. I'm gonna get quicker at doing those. I didn't finish my homework till later, and then we slipped into weekend. So I'll try and get mine updated sooner rather than later for next week. Let's see, She-Wolf. Here's my gnome ready and baked. My story is he will be holding a walking stick that also holds a lantern. And he has a companion / pet on a leash he is holding in the other hand. He sees a dark cave and he wants to explore, but his pet, thinking a chipmunk, doesn't want to go into the scary cave. I plan on keeping him barefoot with big feet. I'll have a lantern hanging from his walking stick. I was thinking his clothes would be very tattered on the pants hem. Okay, yeah, good. He's a poor gnome that lives by himself with his little chipmunk. I don't know the best way to do the lantern. I'm thinking a little chipmunk would have like a little satchel on his back, and my gnome have a backpack. So I think one of the best way to do like a lantern for you guys is there's a lot of little like coin battery light bulb configurations already made and like ready to go. I would just buy something that's all pre-constructed and ready to go, and then just maybe sculpt some sort of a housing that you just can insert it into. So you sculpt the lantern and make it look cool, and you just insert the light and battery component into the lantern, and that way you're not running wires and messing with all that stuff. If you want to make it light up, we will do like future classes that will get more into like making things light up side of things, but that's definitely more like next level stuff. But if you want to get ahead and do that, that's how I would do it. You could also use epoxy clay and sculpt directly onto the light source. You just don't want to be baking that piece, so you need to either make it come out of the sculpture, or you sculpt the lantern separately. Maybe drill a hole that's the diameter of the light source, and then you insert it in there. You know, something along those lines. But creating the sculpture and the light component separate, and then combining them once the baking's finished. So, all right, let's take a look here. See what we got here. All right. He's looking good. Now, you have baked him at this point, I imagine. The only thing I would... Okay, you got a little staff already there. Very good. The only thing I would like to see is he's a little too almost like standing straight up and not really like almost like too stationary, if that makes sense. Now, yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how we could change that. Maybe if he had like a little bit of a tilt on his head, or a turn on his head, or a hunch over. Yeah, exactly. Or hunching him over. Now let's see. Something like that is what I would mess with. Oh, he is kind of hunched over. So, yeah, he is. So one way we can remedy this is when we get up into this sculpting of the upper torso, I would add more material onto his back. Yeah. Or you bend him a little bit more so he's leaning a little bit forward, because he's gonna have his weight on his staff. Think about that, you know, or his walking stick. Just those slight little changes can really drive it home, you know. So he's not so like rigid and stationary, right? We want a little bit of movement. So maybe tilt him a little bit more forward. Have the arm a little bit higher that's holding the staff to compensate. You might need to tip the head. You might need to tip the head up a bit too after you tip him over, so he's not staring at the ground, right? And then if you need to later on, you can add more material onto his back so he even looks more hunched. But yeah, it's looking good. The forms and everything with the feet and everything you need down here is looking great. So like a backpack and a hump on the back. Right, yeah, or backpack is great. Since your character is kind of like a wandering nomad, he would probably have a backpack with a bunch of stuff. Maybe a bedroll, which could do the trick too. So very good. All right, let's see here. Jabez initially went for a more dynamic pose than this, but chickened out because I thought it would be beyond my noob skills. Don't doubt yourself, Jabez. Also, I wanted more drawn to the chunky woodland creature reference, so I'm sticking with it. I may live to regret both of these decisions, but it's baked now, so no turning back. There's always ways. You can always change things. Like, for example, She-Wolf, yours is already baked, but you can still adjust the character and change him. And if the material's fighting you, you can make like an incision with the knife and bend it. Because remember, this is just the understructure. So cutting into it and changing it is no problem. Because none of what we've baked so far is going to be visible in the finished product, right? We're doing this layer of equipment and stuff on top. So it's better to make those changes now because you're just going to be going over top of it. So... but you know, like now the shoe on mine is now the finished product, you know, so now I don't want to change that. So future projects will say, hey, how's it going there, Mr. Jinx? How you doing? I have exactly 0 time for yet another hobby, but I've been lurking recent classes, and I have to say I love watching and listening to you teach, seeing everyone's progress. Cheers from the sidelines. Hey, that's all right, Dunder Mifflin. Maybe in the future things will open up, because the idea is we're creating a class, and hopefully maybe even a whole catalog of classes that will be available till the end of time for people to use as a resource. So that's the game plan. Maybe in the future. Okay, so let's see how it's looking here. This is looking good. See, just like I told. Do you see the difference here, She-Wolf, between yours and this one? Is that there's just more like action and life into the pose, and all of the only difference is it's more hunched over, the arm is higher, the head is not looking just straight on, you know, it's like turned to the side just slightly, you know. So this is good. It's looking really nice. Yeah, no, this is looking good. I think you're in a good spot. Okay. Good job, J-Biz. Alright, Lulu. This is a quick sketch for my little forest nerd. Also, it is a real inspiration to see everyone's work. GG all. Okay. Hey, forest nerd indeed. Okay, so you've done a really good job of putting his center of gravity on this leg right here. See that? That reads really well. That he's like mid-step. His weight is now on this foot. And he's about to take the next step. I could see it already, casually strolling through the woods with his book. Yeah, very good. Little marble for a sketch lantern. And this is something that you guys can do too. If you're having a hard time visualizing anything, just take a bunch of clay and just sketch things in place. Use little props, like a marble. Don't spend a lot of time on your sketch, just loosely throw it in there. And then that gives you like vision of, okay, is this working? Is this not working? It really helps. So anytime you're like feeling uneasy or weary about the piece, maybe you need to just sketch a little bit to kind of settle those thoughts. So there we go. Very good. I love it there, Lou. Great job. Okay, let's see. Red ticket, week 3. Progress on both my old men. One sitting with his arms resting on his knees and one standing, who will have a staff. Added some belly because he's going to end up quite round in the end rather than have a skinny dude and need to bulk out later. Now, okay, this is let's see what we got here. So if you're into something and you're like realizing you really need to bulk something out, instead of adding tons of clay, what you can do is lay a thin layer of clay on the surface, then put a piece of tin foil and then another layer of clay to bulk out areas You know, if I'm ever bulking with the clay and I realize I'm just adding a lot of material, just remove that material and insert some foil in the middle. You can do that. You can kind of sandwich or layer the foil in there, just because we're past the initial state. But I usually put down a layer of clay first, then stick the foil, and then another layer of clay like that, so it all kind of holds together. So if you're adding material to the belly and realize you don't want to waste a ton of clay, but you want to get the roundness up there, then just add the foil in the mix there. So let's take a look. All right, he's got a nice belly going on, that's for sure. So this is the one standing with the staff. Okay, same thing with him. I would like to see him not looking straight ahead like this. I just think, you know, let's think about, okay, is he standing to the right of the other guy on the bench? Maybe have his head turned a little bit towards that guy, you know, or towards the other side. Just a little turn. Trust me, it like makes the interest level of the piece exponentially jump up than having the characters kind of like lifelessly staring at everything all straight, you know. So it's something to consider, just changing the position of the head. Here's our sitting character. All right, hey, that looks good. That looks really good. I love the expression on the eyes and the nose there. The pose looks pretty natural. Now keep in mind here, there's going to be, see how you have the wire resting on the leg? Well, you have to imagine there's going to be material between, there's material at the bottom of the arm, wire in the middle, and then material at the top of the arm. So just make sure you're leaving enough room to actually sculpt the under part of the arm, you know what I mean? So, which you could always bend those wires a little bit and tweak them later when we get into that step, so maybe don't worry about it too much. Oh, okay, I see from here you have done that. Okay, I think it was just that angle, so that's good. That looks good. I would also create the base structure of the chair, either using a block of wood or just putting some clay there, just enough to make like a really basic small chair. Don't have to know what it is or design it or detail it, but there's something solid there, so he's sitting on something already. It's just gonna make it easier to work on later, I think. Also will help you make decisions on like the wrinkles and stuff for the pants and everything when we get up into there. So yeah, it's looking good. Good job there, Red Ticket. I'm excited. Okami. I spent the week playing with the idea that Grandpa Mole McGee could have a granddaughter. As usual, my ambitions are way bigger eyes than my actual abilities to execute them. I played with the pose so many times I even snapped one of the wires in the armature. Oh no! These are good. These little disasters, trust me, they're supposed to happen. This helps you grow and helps you. Those are all great experiences, even though they seem terrible in the moment. But it's all learning. So that's the real objective. Is not the finished piece, even though the finished piece is cool. The real objective is the learning that we gain along the way. So, hey, King Art the Great, hello. We are doing today's class day on Sundays where we do sculpting lesson, King. So welcome on in. But I stream during the week and we work on projects throughout the week. But today's a little bit more of a focused thing. So, okay, so let's see. Snapped wires in his armature. Oh well. Big feet makes his stability. Yeah. In the end, I decided to go for a charming solo grandpa pose and maybe let Molly McGee III have her own standalone project. Also, I think my hands are way too warm for this medium from Cosclay. I feel like I'm sculpting with toothpaste at times. SOS. You can try and firm it up the clay by doing the sandwiching it between two pieces of printer paper to firmen it up. But it also, you know, if you are kneading it, or maybe you just need to upgrade into extra firm. They have the extra firm variety of Cosclay. Maybe that's the clay for you. For me, medium firm is great. And it also could be that the batch you got of medium firm is just really soft. Sometimes the batches are a little bit different depending on which one you get. So let's take a look here. All right. I love it though. No, this is good. Really dynamic pose. A lot of interest going on here. He's really, whatever he's holding is very interesting. And we want to know what it is. But we don't have to know what it is right now. But that's good. Already telling a story. I could even see him with like the bifocals on the end of his nose, you know? Like looking at whatever it is. Good. I'm glad you scaled it down just to one single character. We want to get through this project and we want to get an early win. And we don't want to bite off more than we can chew right now, right? So it's the skull of his enemies. Oh, jeez. Good. Okami, it's looking great. Very nice work. Let's see here. Fairy Foundling. Well, I didn't get my guy skinned, but I did get his armature put together. The pose seems solid. He'll have a staff in his left hand and something cute in his right. I couldn't come up with a unique pose that I liked. And teacher's pose is so charming. I changed it up a bit. And he's solid on his feet instead of depending on his staff. Okay. Okay, yeah, it doesn't matter. You guys can use the same pose I use. You can come up with your own. It doesn't matter. I'd say the closer you guys stick to the path that I go down, the more kind of instruction you're going to get. Obviously, for example, today, not a whole lot's going to help you if you're doing bare feet, right? Because we went with shoes. So you just had to make those decisions on where you want to stray and where you want to stay on the path. So, but yeah, let's see. Let's take a look. All right. So he's like stopped and looking at something. That's good. Is that aluminum? It looks like aluminum armature, but it looks thick, so it should be good. That's good. I like it. Yep. So with your character, we're gonna do it with our characters, but especially with your character because he is just standing there, but he's got the head turned and everything's looking really good. We're gonna have like material that's draping off of him, kind of blowing in the wind, and that's gonna be your movement in your piece. So, but we'll worry about that later. But this looks really good. It's the best way to add movement to a character that's standing still is to have the flowy bits flying in the wind. So, let's see here. Okay, Soldier Dude says, I just got this in, had the oven set to 375 instead of 275 in week 2. Should be all right once it's painted, I hope. Oh boy, let's see. Let's see here. Oh yeah, okay, he's got a little bit of brown on the nose. That's fine. The discoloration doesn't matter, so don't worry about that. He's got a little bit of a tan going though. A natural blush on the nose. Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see. Let's see how the pose is looking good. Let's see here. Let me do it again. I feel like there's something we can tweak here though. No, you know, I think it is fine. It looks fine. I think what's throwing me off is the direction that he's looking, and where his hand will end up being is not quite lining up, but we'll change that later. We'll bend the arm so it's more in line, you know, because what we don't want is we don't want his eyes over here and then he's holding something right here, you know, so. But that can be messed with later. We'll really line it up later when we sculpt the hand and attach the hand, and then we can really line all that up. So don't worry about that. This is looking good. Looking great. Man, this is exciting. There's gonna be so many cool pieces by the end of this class. Mr. Brightside, I'm loving the reference with a leaf for a hat, so I did a quick sketch. Super excited for the upcoming weeks. Let's see here. All right. Oh yeah, look at that. Everybody, I bet you guys have to really resist the urge to want to just get ahead, right? I know, trust the process. Trust the process. This is looking good. Oh man. There we go. Yeah. Oh man. You want to do accessories so bad. Don't worry, it's coming. The time is coming. All right, let's see. Let's see how we're looking here. Nah, it's good. It's looking good. We got a good head turn. The body's position's fine. And again, like I said, we'll line up the arm later. We'll line it all up so it's looking perfectly at it. Because that right here, he's looking perfectly at it, but we still got to make the hand and get it in there, you know. So we'll figure that out. Okay. Good work there, Mr. Brightside. I'm excited. A stylish hat indeed. It's exciting. All right, Sapphire. Let's see here. He's hunched over because I plan to have a little pet traveling companion that he is looking at. Okay. I had two questions. I plan to have his right arm resting on his knee. However, I moved it out of the way so I could work. Should I bend it back before I bake it and then move it back out of the way, or just leave it? If it's just bending the wire armature, yeah, you don't have to have the arm there right now. So yeah, you might as well bend it out of the way. Finished. We're gonna work our way up the middle of the character, and then once we do the arms, then you can bend it back down into position. As long as it looks natural and you don't have to bend the torso, that's what you want to figure out right now. If it's just the arm moved out of the way, then that's good. That's good to do that. So I definitely plan him to be barefooted. Should I bake with a very thin layer covering the wire and finish it later, or should I go ahead and sculpt the feet to completion now, or just add a placeholder and cut it off later? So if you are adding, if you were going down the route of doing bare feet, just having like a flat, not to the full width plank of clay there that's baked is going to benefit you, because then you can sculpt the shape of the foot and it's going to be more sturdy. So pretty much kind of like what you have here would be fine, and then you can sculpt the anatomy of the foot on top of that. Unless his feet are meant to be really small, then you would not want to put anything and just sculpt the full finished foot. So man, you guys are making me want to do like a foot lesson of how to sculpt the foot. I wish we had more time. I'd have to make my guy have a missing shoe. I wonder if we can do. I wonder if I can do a foot lesson. It'd be a bonus. It'd be a bonus work for sure. I don't know. There's always going to be things that you guys are going to want to do, and I can't demonstrate it all in one project. So he could hold his lost shoe. Because I feel pretty confident with my feet sculpting abilities, but perhaps you guys will have to just explore solo on this one, and we'll do some foot sculpting in a future lesson. Let's see, but everything else is looking great. The angle that he's looking down is looking good. The arms will have to be shifted again. You can bend those out of the way for now, and then we'll get those in those final position later. But yeah, it's looking good. Yep. Okay, morph. I'm late, but I don't want to rush it. You get the basic idea. Imagine the saddle is there, but he sits on the turtle. Okay, has been startled by something. Turtle stopped to eat a mushroom on the side of the road. A left hand will hold a beer wooden mug or beer in a horn. Right hand is reaching into the bag or something. A carrot, or I don't know yet. Left foot is on the shell. Right foot is in front of it. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's take a look. Oh, hey, that's an excellent turtle shell already. Wow. Jeez. So it looks like the right hand, like he's holding onto his saddle or something, like he got startled or something. That's funny. Good shape on the body too. Very good. Let's see, how is it attached? Yeah, it looks like it's really sturdy on there, so that's good. Really stable. All right. It's looking good there, Morph. All right, let's see. Let me continue reading what he said. Right foot in the front, a little in the air as a reaction. Turtle might look small right now, but should not that much in the end, and it will hold merchandise and all behind barrels. Oh boy, Morph is going. That's a dangerous project because it's very addictive to create accessories and stuff. So you'll be stuck in their accessory land for a while. It's a fun kind of project though, that's for sure. I did not do the legs and arms basics yet because lack of time, and I need to do the saddle first, I think. I also am quite okay with the belly chest area. Yeah. And texturing, as it might not get fully covered, so no baking at the moment. I'll wait for the Boss Not Bush critiques. Also, I was a little scarred by the lack of neck at the first, but finding it really going well. Yeah, I think so too. I think that not having neck works good too. And yeah, so if you plan on having the chest area exposed, you either need to make it skinnier than it's going to be in the finished product, or you need to fully detail the area that's going to be seen now. Either way works. And yes, I would also make the saddle first because the character is sitting on the saddle. You don't want the saddle to be clipping into the character. So making the saddle first will let you form fit everything to the saddle. So yeah, sculpt that in there first. Was there any other questions? Everything else looks good though. I think you're definitely on the right track. So nothing more to say there. Let's see. Finsky started the thread. Let's jump to this here. Let's see. Oh, okay, there we go. We're not doing threads anymore, so just do hashtag sculpting your wasabi at dinner. Nice. Those are dead. Let me plug them in really quick here. Don't do the threads anymore. Just do hashtag week, whatever week we're on. Just somewhere written with your post so I can search for it. The threads idea flopped because they apparently disappear after a certain amount of time. So let's see here. Hello, this is my model for week 3. It came out quite wide and chunky. I guess when I did armature, I didn't correct it, but it looks good enough to me. Just we'll have to work around that and make a bigger belly. Is it good to use? Is it good, or you see something that I could correct? It's not baked yet, so if you see anything that's not right, let me know. Maybe I should redo the armature and start over, or add a bigger belly at this point. Already. Hashtag, okay, edit. After feedback from you guys, I managed to move the head a bit and make some space for some kind of a neck. Let's see here. Let's check. Oh wait, is this the updated one? Let's check the updated one here. Okay. Okay, so the forms and everything look great, but he is a little bit on the static side because the character's looking just straight ahead. I would prefer, and I just think it looks more interesting if he was looking slightly to the right or to the left, and probably more to the right side because of his arm. Instead of him like holding, because it's like he can't move his neck and he has to hold it right in front of his face, like he's got a neck brace on. But he should be turning a little bit towards that arm with his head, and then move the hand in the appropriate spot. That's what I would. That would be one tweak I would make that will make this more interesting. But the forms of the body and everything look great. So nice job there. The thing about the neck is if you leave yourself room, it gives you options for adding scarf or detail. If you don't leave yourself room, there's just less options, but it'll still look good, if that makes sense. Same goes for Morph's project, because he doesn't have a neck there, but that's okay. We're going with the flow here, not against the flow. So let your previous decisions direct the flow, and just you're kind of like riding on this wave of decisions that you've made. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, let's go back to, let's close that. Do this. Okay. New one here. RPG Dojo. Okay, we got 2 new ones here up at the top. That's good. That's good that we reset that then. Got a boot done. We'll smooth. Okay, so when you guys get done with, make sure you're doing hashtag week 4 for feedback for next time. So once you finish your boot and all that stuff, just make sure you do hashtag week 4. After this point, we're on the hashtag week 4 train. So got a boot done. We'll smooth and even out it a bit, but it'll probably just start the second boot first so I can get it done by next week. Okay, let's see here. All right, that's looking good. I'd like to see the whole character so we can see kind of how it's looking proportionally, but it doesn't really matter. You can make really tiny feet, you can make really big feet. This type of character, it works no matter what. So but yeah, it's looking good. It's looking really good. Let's see here. Chef Bless. Still trying to figure out the thighs, not cooking yet. I plan to have him holding a lantern, and on his other hand will be leaning on a pickaxe. Okay. What are you sneezing over here, Shady? Okay, let's see. Let's see, different angle. Let's watch the video. Okay, so pickaxe in the lower hand and then lantern up. Okay. You know, one thing you should do is you should add the pickaxe like almost like just a piece of wire or something, so we can kind of see how his center of gravity is looking. Because with the stance he has right now, he looks like he's just holding. He would just be holding it, but not putting any weight towards it. If that makes sense. What you can do is look at images of people actually leaning on things, and you'll see that the body language reads different. You know, you can see the weight being pushed on that object. So I'm trying to see here. I'm trying to see. Because he's holding the lantern, I don't know. I would turn his head towards the right, so towards the lantern head side, and then move the lantern arm just ever so slightly towards the right, or even kind of above, kind of almost like he's holding it right above his head, you know. But definitely change the head direction. That's a little bit too kind of straight on. Yeah, definitely more that way. But it's looking good. It's looking good. Forms and everything look great, so keep it up. All right, let's get back to where we were down here. So yeah, anybody that wants feedback for next week, make sure you're doing hashtag week 4, okay? So you don't get missed. Okay, we did that one. I think we're right here, toadstool, okay. I slit my gnome's neck and was able to turn his head towards his pet that is resting. Okay, perfect. Perfect. All right, rest in peace, She-Wolf's gnome. Finally baked him. This is just a mock-up for the staff. The spiral is probably too tight. Okay. Toadstool. Let's see what we got here. Oh. All right. It's looking good. See how he's got this forward lean? That means when you have the staff, we can see that the character's putting weight onto the staff, which is good. That's great. Jeez, man. I hate when I forget to charge my headphones. All right. Nothing more to say. Doing good. Carry on there, Toadstool. Carry on. Very good. I was trying to give it another go with the first head I did at the start of the class, looking more gremlin-y. Gremlin-ish. Gremlin-ish. Let's see. Oh, yeah. I can almost, oh yeah, okay, I like it from that. From the side here, I could almost see his nose being even a little bit longer. Like that. Could add some to the ball of the nose there. But from the front, looks good. I even like, that's his, very nice, wrinkles here on the cheeks. Very, natural looking. All right. Lou is on to the second one. All right, here's the Jones family. Here we go. Jones. Let's see what we got here. Wow, very expressive there, Jones. Let's see. I love it. It's really awesome. Yeah. Very good. Definitely telling a story for sure. I wonder what he's holding. Something magical for sure. All right, Mrs. Jones. Let's see what we got here. Okay. Let's get the video going here. Okay. The body and the head direction's looking good. We're gonna have to adjust the arms on Mrs. Jones, but don't worry about that right now. That'll happen later. See, this is one of the best things about the way I work is there's a lot. You don't have to worry about a lot of stuff. You're just worrying about what's the step right in front of us. Everything else you don't even think about. So, but as far as what's done here, it's looking good. Looking right in line. Do we have a Jones Jr.? Oh, wait. Or just Jones and Mrs. Jones. I guess we'll find out. Let's see here. Arnura, not baked yet. Not sure if I have hit the mark with him yet. Arms and feet seem too long. But as he is an oddly proportioned fellow, can't judge if they work or not. Okay. Let's see. Arms and feet. Don't worry about the arms proportionally right now. We don't need to worry about that. Changing the length of arms is easy to do. Changing the length of the legs is not easy to do. So, let's see here. I think the feet and the legs and everything look good. I see what you're saying about the arms right now, currently. But again, don't worry about it so much. Right now, our focus is the center post here. The feet, the legs, the torso, all that stuff. Let's see here. Now he's got quite a forward stride, like he's really walking forward right now. So, let's see here. I think in something we'll probably end up changing with the arm with him. Because usually you're not like, when you're stopping to look at something like that, you're not like also like violently walking forward, you know. So it could look a little unnatural. But we can change that. Or maybe even turn his head so he's facing more in the middle and downwards, and his hand is kind of in here. So that way he's like he took a step forward and reached down and picked something up and was looking at it. And he's still all stretched out from that bending down. But no, it looks good. This is something, all the yeah. The arm, the stuff with the arm, you can decide to change it, like I said, or you can keep it how it is, and we'll figure out what that forward arm is doing more in line with the pose later, but we don't need to worry about it right now. So baked in. All right, let's see what we got here from Lord God. All right, let's see. Okay, he's like action pose man. Let's see. Go back to here. Now, see, he's looking like he's gonna fall on his butt. See what I'm seeing here? So we need to tilt him. We need to tilt him this direction. We need to tilt him forward. So he looks more like right now. If we like unpaused, if we unpaused the movie right now, he'd be falling down on his butt. So that's the thing that jumps out to me. We need to lean him more forward. So he's putting weight on. Even just a slight bit forward lean is good because he has a staff. So, but other than that, that's the only thing I see that needs to change there. I could see a little bit more of a turn on the head, but it's not necessary. But just a slight turn more towards this direction, towards his right. But that's it. That's all I see. It's looking good. Good work. All right, torn. Okay, I fixed him, manhandled a little bit. Does he look good enough to bake from torn? Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. I think I'll give the same thing for you. I think you need to see how his shoulder line is kind of leaned this way. I'd like the head turned to the side more than straight, kind of like straight. Everything's kind of straight on right now. So could also be turned in and down again too. Yeah, like right now he's kind of just looking up, you know, like looking really up. Oh, his head is tilted now. Okay, all right, good. Good. That's the only thing that I notice is that the head is just kind of needs a tweak of some sort. But looks good, Torn. Looks really good. Cherry loves Cosclay. Week 3. This is so fun. Baked and have started the second head today too. Okay, there we go. Let's see. Just a happy old grandpa. Okay, so let's see. You might have already fixed this, but the toe doesn't need to be bent like this if he's sitting. The feet will be flat, kind of like this other foot is. So you can either use that and make a curled toe shoe, or just kind of just flatten that out when you go to do the shoe. So it'll be a little bit lifted, but you want to imagine his foot is kind of planted on the ground. Lots of work to do, that's right. But everything else is reading good. I think he's looking nice. Very good. Very good, Sherry. Alright. Next page here. Here we go. 18 Vicks. Armature and pose done. I've added a basic thin layer and baked it. I'll add more thickness to the legs and torso soon. Okay, yeah, that's good. It's always better when you're doing those initial layers to do it thinner than you think you need, and you can fix the thickness when you do the detail layer. So let's see what we got here. From 18 Vicks. Ah, very formally. That's good. It's looking good, man. Let's see, 18 Vicks. Let's see here. No, nothing to say. Oh, one more time. All right, so push, if you could just push him a little bit more towards his staff right here. So he's almost like if he didn't have the staff, he would fall forward. And then this would read more natural, because right now he's a little bit too, almost a little bit leaning back too much. So just lean him a little bit more, not towards his knee here, but towards where his torso's pointed. Just bend it a little bit that way, and that should be good. Just slightly will do the trick. Yeah, so this direction. A little bit more. Which will change a little bit of the bend on the foot a little bit. Alright. Good job, 18 Vicks. It's looking great. Switching projects for the day, my ambitious base will have a tree stump filled with water, UV resin. I'll get a sleep or two in before calling this part done. Can't wait to see all the poses you guys come up with. Last edit cleaned up the neck and mostly left the body alone. Okay, let's see what we got here. There's the tree stump with the water. Alright. That's good. See the difference between if this head was just straight up and down and something that's just got a slight tilt to it. This one has a slight tilt to it, and it just does so much for the character, the design. So I did take the backpack off. Yeah, definitely leave that out. Don't don't add that in. There's certain things you don't need to add an armature to. Backpacks is one of those. If we add a backpack later, we'll start with a ball of foil and then kind of stick it on there and then start building the backpack, but you don't need to do that right now. That's something we can do later. So it's good. It's looking really good. Good work there, Clayton. Okay, I think we reached everybody there. Okay. Very, very nice work, everybody. That's gonna conclude our feedback. Oh, oh yeah, sure. Yeah, if I missed anybody, now's the time to let me know so you don't miss. But yeah, let me know if I missed anybody. We'll look for. Let's see. Okay, right here. All right. Oh, I see. That's weird that didn't show up because you did hashtag week 3. Missed my latest update. That's weird. Okay, why is that not showing up? All right, 1 second. Let's do Kreisel. Am I saying that right? Kreisel. My apologies for late submission. Is it possible for a feedback? Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. All right. So you are on the week 1 lesson right now, right? Okay. Can I check the crack photos? Yeah, sure. Sure. Hey, that's looking good. That's a very unique face there. I like it. Eyes are looking really good. Very good job on the eyes. You're definitely ready for textures and details. So, very nice. Definitely. Oh man, I love projects like this. They're all so unique. I'm so excited to see the finished results. So, am I late to the party? Did he do my? I did yours, Morph. Yeah. Hashtag week 2. Okay, so when you submit, even if you're not caught up to so next week when you want feedback, no matter what stage you're at, do hashtag week 4. Okay, so that way moving forward we're all on the same page here. So you can let me know where you're at in the description, but yeah, let's see here. Hold on 1 second. Let's do this really quick. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, let's see here. What else did we miss? Plata week 2, right? So here. Oh, and then an 18 VIX week 2. Right here. Crazy week last week, so a little behind. Hashtag week 2. Goal is to have the next step done for class this week. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh boy. He's looking rough. Have you not opened the eye yet, or are you gonna have like a kind of like a scarred over eye or something? He's looking good. Make those if you can. Or I don't know if you already baked it or not, but actually it's not as big of a deal with the nose holes. But you don't want there to be a sharp edge on the bottom of the nose hole. It should roll into the inside. So I'm planning an eye patch. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's looking. That's perfect. You don't need to do anything there. We'll add the eye patch later when we do the details, like when we fill in the eyes and start doing the facial hair. That's when you can do the eye patch. So, but it's looking good. Very good, very good. Okay, let's see. 18 VIX. Today, update 3, week 3 update. Oh, I see. Okay, that's why. It's because you didn't. Because you put a space between week and 3. No space. 18 VIX. Hashtag week 3. Basic legs and feet shape done. All right, let's take a look. Let's see what we got here. Oh, those look great. Those are looking really good, my friend. Awesome job with the anatomy. The ankle bones, the shape of the heel, it's all looking really good. Now, if you're going barefoot, you can either bake it and then cut those toes off, or you can just remove them now. Or if you haven't baked it yet, just finish the feet before you bake it. If he's going barefoot. If he's wearing shoes, then that's fine. Just leave it how it is. Yeah, very good. Awesome. Booty. Right. Very good. Okay, and what else? Who else did I miss? Awesome, She-Wolf. Glad to hear it. Wait, let's check here. Was it in here? Let's go down. Right here. Okay. Okay. Should the wire come out from the heel? Let's see here. That's your design. I see. Okay. Only if his feet are not touching the ground, then no, the wire shouldn't come out of the heel. If it is touching the ground, then yes, then you have the wire come out of the heel. That's cool. That's a cool design. It's exciting. Let's see here. Very cool. All right, good job, Red Ticket. Here's the cracks. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, so these probably happen. So this happens with some of the other clays, where if the clay gets too thick, it produces these hairline cracks. So moving forward, you want to try to not make the clay too thick. I know with the way we did the heads here, it ended up being pretty thick. With Cosclay, you don't have to worry about these types of problems, but with other polymer clays, you do. But trust me, we will fill these and fix those later. Don't worry about it right now. But essentially what we'll do is we'll take like we'll take a magic sculpt or an epoxy clay, and kind of like if you've ever done drywall mudding, you're gonna get it really liquidy and you're just gonna like fill in the cracks just by like swiping over it. Or you can even use the clay, but the Polymerclay you're using with clay glue, you could do the same thing. But like I said, wait until the end, because there's always a chance you can fix it right now and then they re-emerge later. So just wait till the end. Okay, that's it for this week. Feedback round. Hey everybody, thank you all for joining me. Thanks for joining this class here. You all are doing wonderful work, so keep up the great work. And remember to do hashtag week 4 for next week's feedback. And make sure you get, well, I will have, I'm not gonna tell you guys what to do, but I will have my shoes both done and the socks done, okay? So next week, I'll be adding the pants. We'll be going over kind of pants and figuring out the wrinkles for that and all that stuff. So if you don't do shoes, you got to do feet, and you got to kind of fly solo. Maybe the next piece we'll make will have bare feet, but just use your reference, really identify the shapes that are there. And I kind of did a quick overview of how I would approach the feet, but the key is to use the reference. Don't pretend like you know exactly how feet are made. Look at the shapes. Maybe I'll throw some feet references up on the board, on the Pinterest board, so I'll give you guys something to look at. But anyways, hey, thanks for joining me, everybody. Thank you, Sir Jinx, there, for the 82 months resub. I appreciate it, my friend. All right, let's find somebody to raid, and I'm gonna get on out of here. Finish off the rest of my weekend. See what we got here. I'll be back tomorrow bright and early. We'll be working on the Skyrim Dragon Elduin, doing some more detail, scaly action. Oh, hey, Charles is on. Let's go raid Charles. Charles Lister Art is a fantastic illustrator, probably one of the best I've ever encountered. His designs are out of this world, and he's just a crazy guy. He's a character. So let's go give him a raid here. Yeah, so finish the first boot, bake it, and then do the second boot. You'll be thankful for that. So, and then bake it again. All right, everybody. Till next time. Bye-bye.